Hey, this is Senoko and this is a guide to Expert Caduceus Rise. This dungeon is non-linear, meaning you can choose which bosses and in which order you wish to attempt them. For this video, Thane Hergen was the first boss I chose to attempt. Hergen has a frontal cleave, so make sure your tank takes it away from the group. He also casts a ground AoE called Crystalline Earth. Crystalline Earth does a significant amount of damage in a very short period of time, and is actually pretty surprising for a tier 2 instance. Other than those two mechanics, this boss is pretty much tank and spank. Keep in mind that there are 11 bosses total split between two tier 2 instances, so be sure to try the other instance if you get the time. Next up is Faultwalker Alraj. His main ability is called Tainted Blood. Tainted Blood fills the room with red, green, and blue circles. Stacks will accumulate during the encounter, and you must look at the icon and run to the circle with the matching color of your highest debuff. By doing so, you'll reduce the stack over time. The only other mechanic that you'll have to worry about during this encounter is a purple AoE you see being casted right now. All you have to do is just move out of it, and that's it. The group I did this encounter with is very overgeared, so we chose to ignore the mechanics, so please do not follow what I'm doing in this video. The next boss we chose to do is Coalgut. Coalgut casts a fire ground AoE, so have the tank move him out of it. There are two blue crystals that spawn on the map. Have the tank kite the boss onto the blue crystal while DPS takes it down. Destroying the crystal will cause a significant amount of damage to the boss. The ground fire AoE can also land beneath any player in the group, so be sure to move out of it as quickly as possible. After destroying the first crystal, have the tank kite it to the next crystal and repeat the process again. Eventually the boss will become unstable. When he becomes unstable like this, you have a very short amount of time to run out of the blast radius. If you're caught in the blast radius, it's an automatic death. After becoming unstable, he enrages for about 30 seconds. Have the tank kite him from crystal to crystal and freeze him and slow him by destroying the crystals. Next up is Ashcaller Zael. From time to time he will spit out smaller pieces of himself all around him, and he will shrink. At this point in time, DPS will want to take down the smaller pieces of himself. When the ad is burned down, it'll change colors to gray, letting you know that you've finished off that ad. Any ad that's not finished off during this phase will be reabsorbed into him and heal him. The ads that spawn also have no aggro, and they will target the player that is closest to them, so make sure the tank is the closest one to them at all times. The ads are also not tauntable. Healers and ranged DPS should back off to maximum distance from the boss. Hookmaster Palos is a very simple fight. If you're not paying very close attention, it can be very difficult. He has 4 main abilities that you should watch out for. First one being Thrashing Stomp, which isn't much of a big deal. Your healer can just heal through it. His next ability is called Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch will daze a target for a few seconds. He also has the ability to hook a player. When being hooked, the player will be pulled into melee range and also be stunned for a brief moment of time. His last ability is called Blood Pact. During Blood Pact, the boss will choose a player in your group. Any damage that is done to the boss at this time will be transferred to that player. And finally we arrive at Caduceus. Caduceus is a 3-phase fight. During the first phase, smoky trails will move around the ground. If one touches you, you'll be knocked back and interrupted. They don't do much damage, but it could eventually add up. He also fires lava torrents at all players. This ability could be cleansed off by your healer. His last ability in this phase is just a pull. When he pulls the player in, the player will be stunned for 5 seconds. To avoid this, have your entire party stack up behind the boss. During the second phase, wisps will spawn all around you. All the wisps will launch ember bolts at you. If they are killed, the wisps will just respawn, so ignore them. Orolings will also spawn. Have the tank pick them up and group them up under the boss. Have the group AoE them down. If any are left alive during this phase, the boss will then transition to the next phase. If the boss transitions to this phase, he will be able to one-shot any player with his Quake Surge. So try to down all the adds as priority, then finish off the boss, and you'll never have to hit that phase. I hope you enjoyed this guide on Expert Caduceus Rise. Be sure to subscribe for more Rift video guides and PvP content. Also, I'll be covering Star Wars The Old Republic soon. Thanks for watching.